Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Lori. So for day 7 of vlogging every single day in April, I'm going to combine the BAT VEDA and the SSS VEDA prompts. One is about health and one is about books, and if you remember from one of my earlier videos, I said that I'd made a pledge to myself that I was going to make the most of my 30s, and both of those things have been a part of that. So I used to read a lot when I was living in New York because I had a lot of time to myself on the subway on the way to work and back. But ever since leaving, I've read a lot less. Last year I decided to try getting an audiobook subscription, which is like you pay every month and then you can download one book of your choice. And it's helped me get back into reading a lot more. I wasn't really sure if I could get into audiobooks, but actually it turns out I really like them because you can multitask while you're reading or listening. Anyway, some of the best books that I've listened to in the past year have been Eddie Huang's memoir, Fresh Off the Boat, which is now an ABC sitcom. If you guys haven't watched it, you should definitely check it out. And I'll talk more about that in another video one day because it actually means a lot to me as an Asian American. I also like Prodigy's autobiography, partially because I just love Mobb Deep, but he reads it himself, so listening to it is a little bit like listening to your friends talk shit about the old days and fights they used to get into in places that are familiar. So it was actually a really fun book. And I also like Bees, which is a novel that's written completely from a bee's perspective, and it's just so interesting because I just like quirky things like that. Getting to health, one of the good health books that I read surprisingly was this book I think called Body by Cameron Diaz, and I'll link everything below so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm not usually the kind of person who would really go or jump at something that's written by a celebrity, like, oh, you know, Cameron Diaz, who has infinite resources available to her to stay fit and to eat clean and everything, writing a book about how everyone else should be beautiful. But the book is not actually about that, and that's why I liked it. Her point of view is very much that she doesn't believe in fad diets, and she actually believes in really getting educated about your body so that you can make better decisions about living a long-term healthy life. I really support that point of view because it plays into my own philosophy about health and fitness, which is just cut out shortcuts and use your common sense. Personally, full disclosure, I'm not in the best shape. I'm not a personal trainer, so I'm not gonna tell you guys or go into detail about my exact fitness routine or tell you what I think you should do to change your diet or your fitness routine. What I think I can talk about, which is something that I have personal experience with, is attitude. To help you understand where I'm coming from, I guess I have to explain a little bit about my lifestyle. I go through phases where I would go to the gym on and off, but I never really stuck to it for a long time or a long enough time to see real results, and it always came secondary to everything else in my life. I also hate running. You know those people who get up at 5 in the morning and can run 10 miles and then talk all day about how great it is and how refreshing it is to take a run and really sweat it out and stuff? I'll never be one of those people. That said, I did start to realize in my late 20s that by not keeping myself fit, I was also letting my body get so weak that I couldn't rely on it anymore to just learn any sport that I wanted or to do anything active that I wanted to do. Like when I converted to snowboarding from skiing, I felt like it was a much higher learning curve for me because I wasn't fit enough to do all the things that I needed to do, so I couldn't just kind of pick it up and go. And all of that just kind of made me come to the realization that if I did nothing, it was all going to be downhill from there. And that made me change my attitude. I basically realized that the things that I felt that I couldn't do were actually things that I wouldn't do. Like my hate for running. It was always something that I said I couldn't do, you know, because I had bad knees or whatever else. But in reality, it was that I wasn't willing to do it because I just thought it was too boring. So I would just find any reason I could to avoid it. I would take hip hop dance classes at the gym. I would ride my bike more. I would play ball once a week. Basically anything that I could think of that would make me feel like I was being active enough so I didn't have to get on the treadmill or go outside and run. Inevitably, none of those things were adding up enough to make up for the cardio that I wasn't putting in, and they never were going to. And from there, what I realized is that I was putting more energy into avoiding running than I would be putting into just running. So I basically just said to myself, you know what, this is enough. I'm gonna get over myself, and no matter how tired I am, no matter what mood I'm in, no matter how late I work or what social engagements I have, I'm going to make it a requirement that I'm just gonna go to the gym 5 times a week and just run. So as soon as I did that and started running and then also added weights and changed up my diet a little bit, I immediately started losing the excess weight that I'd gained in my mid to late 20s. I wasn't eating less, but I was eating healthier. So I ate a lot of lean meat, I ate vegetables, and I cut out fried stuff and I cut out sugar. I also got over other things that I thought I couldn't do, like stop eating rice, which has been a staple in my diet since before I could remember. At that time, I lost almost 20 pounds in just a few months. But more important than that, I felt like I was freed. Like, as soon as I didn't give myself a choice, I also stopped torturing myself every day trying to find workarounds and excuses not to do things that I didn't want to do. Does that make sense? After that, I actually moved and then changed up my routine again, and everything got messed up and I gained a lot of weight back again. But by then, I already knew what I was mentally capable of, and I knew that all I had to do was get back on track, and that anything that I did to stop myself would be because I wasn't willing to do it, not because I couldn't. So in January, I got back into my regimen and started running 5 times a week, whether I felt like it or not. I also altered my diet again, but did it in a healthier way this time by introducing more healthy carbs, and my body responded immediately. I've lost 13 pounds so far. I feel stronger every week and I can feel my muscles forming again. I'm taking my health and fitness goals very seriously, so I weigh myself every day to better understand what's causing my weight to fluctuate from my diet and my workout. A lot of people might not agree with that practice, but I like giving myself the best information possible. And I also think being very goal-oriented is part of my commitment. Because choosing to exercise and eat healthier as part of a long-term lifestyle choice is just like choosing to quit smoking. It ain't gonna happen unless you want to do it. Not your spouse, not your kids, not your colleagues, but you. I still have a long way to go, but I just wanted to share this perspective on attitude with you guys because I know firsthand what it's like to be tempted to take a shortcut. I also know really well what it feels like to obsess over trying to find ways to get out of doing something that I think is tedious. But what I've really discovered now is that sometimes the most tedious, difficult things to do are also the shortest, most surefire ways to get what you want. So rather than spending energy to convince yourself that you can't do something, try spending the energy to just muster the willpower and get through it, and just don't give yourself a choice. And believe me, no matter what the result is, you'll be so proud of yourself for doing it, if only for getting over that psychological barrier. Because if you can force yourself to do something and stick to something that you really hate, there'll be very few other things in life that you can't do. So sorry my video was a little long today, but it's something that I think a lot about, and I hope that someone out there finds some inspiration in it. Or if you guys have some ideas on how to get over, those bad days where you really just don't want to stick to something positive that you're doing, definitely let me know in the comments below or hit me up on Twitter @hoopshighheels, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!